I'm Adam Kegley. I joined you at UUSMC around the end of 2009. In 2009, I was 35 years old, and I'd been married for about 2 years, and I had a little baby named Henry. My daughter, Ruthie, was born about 2 years later in 2012. That means that I've been a member here for about 14 years. Over the last 14 years, I've served on the Finance Committee, chaired the service auction for 2 years, served as a board member for a year, brought snacks for after church, brought a few meals for potlucks, helped plant a tree or two out in the meadow, and assisted with running the soundboard, and maybe a few other things along the way. I still remember the first time that I visited UUSMC. It was a joyful service. While I don't remember the sermon topic, I remember feeling inspired and uplifted. I also remember being greeted by members and feeling very welcome. This was nothing like the Catholic masses that I was forced to attend weekly as a child growing up. During my first visit here, I remember wondering how on earth I was going to have to explain to my mother that I attended a Unitarian church and that the sermon didn't even mention a Bible verse. So I'm an accountant, and I made a list of 14 things for each year that I love about this church, UUSMC. Number 1, the choir, especially when the choir sings Bridge Over Troubled Water. And I know, and I'm very confident, that the choir will soon return. 2, ingathering. I love the ritual of the gathering of waters and hearing about what we've all done over the summer. New member ceremonies. Our church continues to grow and improve each time we welcome new members to our congregation. That was 3. Okay, yeah. 4, looking out at our beautiful meadow during the service. We're so blessed to have such a beautiful space. 5, connecting with a piece of artwork. Yes, Roberta, your artwork. Sometimes I haven't even heard a word that's happened in service when I've looked at a piece of beautiful artwork hanging on the wall. 6, the New Year's ceremony, where we all step through the door and voice our intentions for the new year. 7, the chili cook-off. I wish all of the options were vegetarian, but I respect you meat eaters out there. 8, my chalice circle. I look forward to gathering with the men's chalice circle and learning about each of their individual lives. 9, seeing members perform a musical instrument during the service. Your talent continues to inspire me. 10, the Finance Committee. The best committee. I just have a deep appreciation for the shared common commitment to the long-term success of the church. 11, the meditation that occurs each week during service. Sometimes I have a blank mind. Other times I find myself engulfed in gratefulness. And others I find myself grappling with whatever anxiety or worry that I'm experiencing that week. And also, part of 11, the weekly sermon. I don't always agree 100% with each sermon, but I love hearing all the ideas, concepts, and thoughts that are expressed from the pulpit. I can always find bits of wisdom in the sermon that I can apply to my life. 12, listening to the congregation sing hymns. I don't sing much. Many of you, when you sit next to me, will offer to share your hymnal. And it's okay, I love to read along and listen, and don't take my lack of singing as a lack of interest. 13, I'm getting close to the end. I love our service auction. I love how the dinners raise so much money for this congregation, but also that the auction drives so many deeper connections throughout the entire year. I look forward to it every year. And finally, number 14, the joys and sorrows. This is my absolute favorite thing about our church. You can take everything else away, but the joys and sorrows stands as my favorite part. I've laughed, I've cried, and have been deeply moved by what has been shared during joys and sorrows. It's a real gift to be a part of this congregation and to share in your joys and sorrows. In 2009, I never could have imagined the role that UUSMC would have played in my life. I stand here today, 14 years later, as a divorced dad of Henry in 9th grade and Ruthie in 7th grade. When my kids were infants, UUSMC was one of the only hours of the week that I could have 60 minutes of uninterrupted peace and quiet. And I relished the once-a-month potluck because 60 minutes became 120 minutes. Many of you would happily entertain my toddlers so I could eat and socialize. Later, during my divorce, UUSMC was also one of my safe havens. Some Sunday mornings, the sanctuary was one of the only hours of solace during the week as I struggled with all the complicated divorce issues and coming to terms with having to move into a new house and fatherhood while only having my kids with me half-time. Over the years, this church has given me so much support. When I was experiencing professional issues at work, there have been so many weeks where I've been so grateful to walk into this community. More recently, you came to my rescue when I broke my leg. You visited me in the hospital. You brought me ice to ice my leg when I came home. You drove me to physical therapy. I deeply appreciate all of you. So I'm proud to be a pledging member of this church. I pledge because I don't think my experience here is unique. I know that each of you show up each week with your individual joys and sorrows, whether you express them or not. My pledge helps ensure that UUSMC continues to be a vibrant community well into the future. We are here together to continue on our own individual and collective paths to make this world we live in better, not only in the present moment, but also for future generations. If you've already turned in your pledge card, I thank you for making a positive impact on our wonderful UUSMC community. If you haven't already, I encourage you to consider making a pledge within your financial means to this wonderful church. Thank you.